poster preparation, which hopefully will be of some use in preparing your poster. The first one is a general introduction and is followed then subsequently by more technical and practical ones, which are essentially a guide to how you might create a poster. So one of the things that's really important to think about is what really are the aims of a scientific poster. And they're similar to the aims of most posters in that they're trying to be persuasive and sell a message or tell a story. So one of our aims in a scientific poster is to distill down everything that we actually have done and everything that we know and present it in a clear and succinct form so that a reader can interact and engage with our material easily and effectively. But really, it's not an opportunity to put down everything you've ever done since the start of your project or the start of the research project. It's more about picking out the key highlights that you want to use to tell your story, the main message, the critical findings. It's also a really good opportunity to promote yourself. Scientists are not very good at promoting themselves, but posters are one of the few ways that they can actually do that effectively. So when you're standing next to a poster and fielding questions from the audience that comes to visit you, you are really promoting your own capabilities. The design of the poster also does that. A well-designed, well-executed, well-presented poster says a lot about you as an individual. And finally, a poster has a very useful role as a talking point at large conferences or even at small conferences. Sometimes conferences can have several hundred or several thousand attendees, and you may only know a handful of them. A poster is a very good talking point where you can actually engage with colleagues and fellow scientists very easily around the framework of your poster or their poster. And it's a very good way to network. So the whole point of doing a poster is so that someone will look at it and engage with you and with the poster. So whenever you're creating a poster, it's really important to think about, understand, and know who the audience is. Is it going to be scientists with a lot of expertise in a very specialized area? If so, you don't need to present general information to them. If it's to an audience of lay people or generalists, you will have to give some general background to them. Otherwise, it's too difficult to understand what you've done and contextualize it with the rest of the work. You should also apply some basic design principles, similar to what you see every day on posters that are trying to sell you things. The reason those principles work to gently nudge you towards buying a particular pair of shoes or a particular smartphone is that there's a carefully constructed design that tells a story to you that helps sell that message. So you can steal from those principles and apply them to science as well, so that you're really trying to sell the scientific message as well as you possibly can. In the same way that those posters are not overly decorated and are not overly busy, a scientific poster really should take a minimalist approach. You show what's necessary, not everything. You show what's necessary, not everything. You do not need to show everything that you've done, every piece of work that you've done. That is not what the role of a poster is. That's not what a poster is for. Rather, it's to summarize what you've done and to take the key messages out there. And one of the tools that will help you take that minimalist approach is to recognize that graphics really are critical. So figures, tables, pictographs, infographics, all of those elements that are non-blocks of text are really, really valuable. Because if you look at any poster you've ever seen in the street, it's not just a wall of text. And the reason that it's not like that is it's because no one is really going to spend the time to read everything. So less is more from the text point of view, and graphics are really, really important here. And coming back to that idea of your audience, you also need to understand what is the core message. What do you want to tell your audience? What do they take away from your poster when they've read it, chatted with you, and walked away to another poster? What do they have in the back of their head about your poster? Some people describe this as a red thread which runs through the entire poster and which all of the elements of the poster are connected to. That idea of a red thread is really important, and I think you should consider aligning everything you add on to the poster to that overall message. That should be the thread from start to finish of the poster. So if you ask a question in the title of the poster, you should answer that question in the poster. So there should be a connection between every element. And you have to be quite vicious here. If there's something there that you like, you think it was a really good way of doing something in your literature review or in your data analysis, and you'd really like to put that in, if it's not helping to sell the message, it has to go. So what's next? The next screencasts are more practical and technical, leading you through the process of how you'll actually build a poster, some key design elements to consider, and how you're actually going to make the most of what you've got.